So, breaking story about Sebastian Telfair. He explains that he had to move back to the projects after losing 19 million he made in the league. So he opened up about how he went from making millions in the NBA to having to move back to mermaid houses in Coney Island in the first episode of his new documentary. He is currently locked up in Fort Dix with Diddy, and then in August he publicly pleaded for President Trump to issue him a pardon. So we're seeing clips of what's happening. We're seeing the documentary. We're seeing the things that he's going through currently. Maurice, what do you think of the situation that he's ended up in, and then just him now opening up and talking about it?
I don't know. It's a lot. I think I usually joke around and talk a lot of shit on the show, just in general. But when you think about it, there's like some personal relation to what he's doing. There's some like the same old athlete story of mismanaging funds and finances. You have women issues and so on and so forth. But one, I was like, man, it takes a lot to go from everything he was, then to be where he's at, but then to show people that. You know what I'm saying? I commend him for even being that humble or to even being that open to even doing that. And I just thought about when I took my fall and I was in the NFL and got cut and went back to the hood. I didn't want a camera in my face, or I'm not sure that I would have basically, put people in my business like that. So I commend him for even being open about that. And I'm pretty sure that it had some connection to business or some opportunity to help him get back on his feet. So I do commend that because he got two twins. I don't know if it's a boy and a girl or two girls or two boys or whatever it was. But I'm just of the camp to hope that he gets back on his feet because I was somebody who was a prominent player in football. He was prominent in basketball, and eventually I got it right. But my journey was a little bit different because I spent more time in prison. And so when I looked at him, I was like, man, 6 months, and I hate to say it like this because I don't want to minimize time, but 6 months isn't a whole lot of time for you to sit down, focus, work on yourself, work on your mind, educate yourself on shit, and at least be around people or within an environment of people who can help you grow. Because when I was in prison, I spent a lot of time reading, a lot of time educating myself, a lot of alone time, and I don't know if 6 months is enough time in prison for him to like reshape his thinking. Right? You'll get around people who wish you well just because there'll be people who know him and know of him, but he'll need an entire mentality shift. To go from having millions of dollars to go back to being broke and then to get out and say, okay, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? I know he qualifies for some pension, excuse me, at the age of 42. So he'll have a couple $100,000 coming in from that. But I just wish him well because I've been there and I've been through every stages of financial hardship. I got in prison with $400 and, I make millions of dollars every year and I do it now. And so I'm not here to say that it's not possible, but, fuck, I've been out of prison for 15 years and just the building process and who you have to become it's just a whole deal. And so, I don't know. I have a lot to say about it, but I don't want to make it all about me. But I looked at his situation, looked at my situation, and I definitely seen myself in that situation before, but I got out of it. But it all came from me like taking extreme accountability and growing the fuck up and really separating from where I used to be from and growing into a new environment.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter if he's in a basement in Coney Island or if he's in a $20 million mansion in Beverly Hills. His energy the same, his spirit's always the same, always in good even though I be hearing shit, there's certain shit that's going on. And I speak to him, he be all right, because he said he gonna figure a way out. And like you said, Mo, he does qualify for a pension, which is always gonna be a good thing for him in the future. But he's very creative outside of basketball, got a lot of other things he wants to do outside of basketball. And not only that, I think that he'd be great in the podcast space because he has bold takes, very opinionated. I don't even agree with a lot of the shit that he be talking about basketball wise. He be bugging the fuck out, in my opinion. That's a little bro, but he be bugging the fuck out. And he does have NBA experience. So we'll see what happens. And hopefully when he gets out, he can put some plays together. And if he never needs my help, I'm here to help him as well.
That's super dope. I do have a question for y'all because, and again, to Cam's point, just like you explaining, knowing him as a person and his character and stuff like that, he's been able to remain positive, but that's not basically like the situation everybody kind of has. So when you hear people in these situations who start off with a lot of money and then at some point it kind of starts to fade and slim away, one, like, what's the best financial advice you've been given? And Maurice, I'm going to let you go first. And then how do you kind of keep your spirits high when you're in those situations? Because I know, Maurice, you were talking about your experience in prison and things like that. So how do you kind of remain positive and are able to turn things around?
For me, I don't think it was a thing of just remaining positive.
Mhm.
But you have to get into your brain and literally get to a place and say, man, it is what it is. No pun intended. Um, Talking about how shit went wrong and talking about who you gave money to and going down memory lane, that's like wasting time. I just remember when I was like, fuck it, it is what it is. I'm here walking the yard, I'm here walking the child, I don't have any money. Like, I got to figure it out. But you can't figure things out just based on hope. Like, you have to educate yourself. And so I was dumb. I didn't I knew how to read, but I couldn't comprehend very well, right? And so it literally took for me to sit down with books inside my cell. I used to order shit from this thing called bargain books. And I said, okay, I need to learn about finances. I need to learn about investing. And it was just like a handful of core books that I started reading: Cash Flow Quadrant, understanding what cash flow was, taught myself about real estate, read The Intelligent Investor, read The Warren Buffett Way. And once I start reading, you just start to get skill. Like, anything you do very well, or anything that you're trying to master, takes a skill, right? Just like he dribbled a basketball. And that's what I was referencing and said that he may not have enough time inside of prison to sit and read through this stuff before you have to get back out to life and start figuring life out. So you do need to become well versed in finances, and it just literally comes from reading page to page. And now you have so many podcasts and other shit that you have going on, that you can get better from listening to other people and going to seminars. But a lot of the stuff is proximity, getting around successful people and just understanding how they operate versus, I'll tell like this, and I don't want to go off the reservation, but I've been knowing Cam, what we've known each other now, like with this for 2 or 3 years. I've never said, hey, Cam, can I come around you to party or have a good time? I'll sit and watch Cam and how he performs and how he entertains and how he does that. Like, it all comes down to your focus when you get around people as to what you want to take from them. Pause. You know what I'm saying? And so just shifting your mind in regards to why you're around people versus just being around somebody because they're a celebrity and want to have a good time. All that stuff is what Sebastian has to do because he has access to the people, but you'll get different versions of people based upon what you ask them, if that makes any sense. And I know I kind of was everywhere with it, but I think like that helps you to get your mind ready to, to grow and to do right by your kids and, other responsibilities you have.
Yeah, that was a great take, Mo. Thing about it is this: you don't sometimes you don't get one opportunity, let alone two. So if you end up messing up on your first opportunity, you got to take full advantage of your second opportunity because third opportunity is just about over with. When you're an athlete, when you're a celebrity, when you're in the public eye or whatever, not even talk about regular people with jobs and shit like that, when they have a chance to get a raise and they fuck the raise up but not living up to expectations, so on and so forth. So the best teacher sometimes is experience.
Yeah.
And I tell people that, you could go to school all you want and study for all this shit, but it ain't gonna equal up to experience. I had a friend of mine, not even being funny, very well educated, etc. He was, it was the recession going on, everything else. The nigga went to be a dog catcher, and they, that ass man. He went to be a dog catcher. They told him he was overqualified. Had all these degrees and shit. They like, yo, man, you can't be out here catching dogs. And he said, recession, I need to get some money. You got all these qualifications, but if it don't matter in the field that you're doing it right now, it don't matter. Like I said, Stan went to school for journalism. Is she journalizing shit like that?
Journalizing is crazy.
I'm just saying. Is you out here doing journalism right now? I ain't see no motherfucking newspaper saying Treasure Wilson reports
That's
here.
not okay. Wait.
That ass,
Journalism
He
doesn't
did not
just
choose that.
journalism is just not news. Like it's
Are you doing
media. It's
journalism? I'm asking you.
yes.
This is journal. I ain't my bad. Like I
Not
said, you're
maybe
right. I be seeing.
this is included,
Nah,
but like I do things, Cam.
no, you do mad shit. You do mad shit. See, the thing about it is this. Niggas, don't get it fucked up, stat. Maybe I should say the new journalists, because niggas like, Kim, yeah, you're becoming an outstanding journalist. Niggas tell me that. I be like, word? Thanks. Nigga, you know what I'm saying? I'm a journalist. So I didn't mean it like that. Don't take offense to that. I see niggas like Nori journalism, Joe Button journalism, Camia journalism. I'll be like, word, we really journalism? My nigga. If that's the case, I've been doing journalism. I'm writing fucking raps. That's journalism. Fucking albums and shit. Fucking I've been writing shit. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want you to take it the wrong way. I say the new journalism. Because all we doing is really talking to our people how they can understand it. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we're not sitting here using a bunch of words to, like I said, I deal with a different characters. I can walk in any room and talk to anybody. I can walk in the room with Warren Buffett, talk to Warren Buffett, and then I can walk in the room with Sid, and he tell me he don't got Apple Pay. You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm trying to tell you. I deal with people of all walks of life. So we're just talking to people how they would want to be talked to. So no, I didn't want to offend you. I didn't mean to offend you with that because you're right. People say
I'm
I'm
not
doing
offended. It's
journalism.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. People be like, "Kim, you're a journalist," and look. Thank you for the compliment. I really appreciate it. But I don't think I'm doing anything outside of myself. But saying when I first started doing any of this shit with the sports, with my talk shows, any of that, I just say, yo, how can I make my people, or not just my people, understand where certain things are coming from? Because, like I said, I hate to keep bringing up certain niggas in the hood, right? Nigga be like, yo, I be like, yo, you did the due diligence on that? Nigga be like, what's that mean? I be like, no, the research. Why you just couldn't say that I do the homework on it? Why you gotta use due diligence? How you said what you said? Why you gotta do all that? Look, man, Stat know this shit, Mo. I'm gonna keep it 100. And I'm gonna keep it a buck. Sometimes Stat don't be up to par with the hood journalism, man. I call Stat the other night. I say, yo, what's philanthropist mean? She ain't know like that.
Off the
Oh,
top. Off the top.
Just
It
kidding.
took me a second.
You ain't
Can
just
I
come
can I
on,
saying.
can I
stat.
wait wait wait
Come
wait wait
on,
Just,
wait wait
stat.
wait.
I'm
Come
No.
just
on,
saying.
Can I
stat.
say something? No.
I
Can
ain't
I say
battling. I
something?
ain't battling you in journalism. I'm
Can
just
I
saying.
can I say something?
You ain't know
It's
what
not a
Come on.
philanthropist was
it's
like that.
not a battle. I knew what philanthropy was. It took me a second. But can I just like explain to y'all the range of questions Cam asked me? We went from what's a philanthropist to what is or Eric B and Rakim to
Eric B. and Rakim. Yeah.
what does the groundhog coming out the ground mean? Like this is like not like
Yeah, the
within
range
the
is wild.
same
I ain't gonna lie.
family. Like
Yeah,
I'm like,
Yeah,
I ain't
yo,
gonna lie.
yeah. I was mad
it's a
when
lot.
I was mad when you didn't know what Groundhog Day was.
It
Yeah,
took
I
me a
thought,
second. Okay, y'all. It's a
yeah,
lot of
I watched the
things.
show, stat. Yeah.
yeah. That's what I'm trying to say. We all come from different walks of life, so I didn't want to be saying wrong to journalism. But back to the original topic, the best experience sometimes is the best teacher is experience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like give you an example. When Mace first came out, he was like, Cam, you should manage me. And I'm like, I don't man, we just got in the game. I'll do it, but I don't know what I'm doing. How the fuck I'm gonna manage something? And this is our first time in the music industry, and it's not like it is now with where you could upload your own music and internet and Spotify and iTunes and all these DSPs where you can put your music. This have to deal with real people in the record company and records and tapes and CDs, and you have to talk real business face to face. There ain't no emails and all that. Maybe a fax machine, but I didn't have no experience. I wouldn't know what I was doing. Today, if I had the man's mace, I run rings around niggas. Same thing like when you think about clutch sports, when you think about somebody like Rich Paul. LeBron James' original agent, he had Leon Rose. He had Maverick and Rich sitting under Leon Rose like this. Yeah.
Yep.
Like Pepsi, Dunkin' Donuts, like this, Pizza Hut. Curve Leon Rose, 2, 3 years later. and let them handle everything. But they had to sit there and learn certain things. Not saying that they ain't no street shit or hustling or being a Maryland LeBron, but you have to learn. Sometimes the best teacher is experience.
No, but I'll tell you like this. Even when you say that, now I say this in the most serious way. I learned more from hustling, but I just didn't have legal terminology with it. And so
Mm,
I didn't want to really go there with the whole conversation. But I was saying to myself when I was in prison, after you hustle, if you could figure out how to formalize this, and I was looking at everything through a hustling eye, but the experience came from hustling, which
mm.
is sales at the end of the day. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? But once you do that, once you can formalize your hustle, the energy and the ambition take over, but you just basically at the end of the day, you hustle, you putting deals together, you create margins on products and services at the end of the day. So you're 100% correct. I have that reference point. I don't know Sebastian life and I don't know it one way or another, but that's just to clear up and clarify the point. One, to say you was right, but then two, not to disparage him in any way.